What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video, and today we're talking about Masters of the Universe Revelations. So yeah, I mean, it's about what you would expect for a show set in the He-Man universe, but it not being about He-Man. It was kind of different. I mean, they kind of marketed it, in my opinion, back when it was coming out as kind of like a He-Man thing, and it has a bunch of the characters from He-Man. Skeletor is still kind of a bad guy, but it's more along the story of the women in the show, which, I mean, it's not bad. They did a better job of like spreading around the love everywhere with all the different characters. But basically, the whole plot of it is episode 1, He-Man dies, and by extension to that, Prince Adam dies, because he's He-Man. And this causes Teela, who is just been like set as the new captain of the guard or whatever, to just get pissed and just walk away from everything. And essentially, when He-Man died, the Sword of Power split in two, because it's actually forged from two separate entities, one of light and one of dark, basically heaven and hell. And they, when that happened, the magic went away. So now they have to team up with Evil Lyn and try and essentially bring magic back to Eternia. They go to hell, they get the sword from there, then they go to heaven, where of course they find Adam, and he decides that, you know, I will want to go back with you so I can call forth the power of He-Man. And when he comes back, he calls forth the power. Turns out Skeletor, who they thought died with him, didn't actually die, and it's just been like kind of hiding with Evil Lyn the entire time. And so he stabs Adam, they get away. You find out that, you know, Teela throughout this whole process has been kind of hinted at you that, oh, the sorceress is her mom, and she doesn't know, but she's slowly starting to figure it out. And then lo and behold, Adam comes up and he's like, you know, Skeletor actually gets the power. Like, he raises his hand and says, by the power of Grayskull, I have the power. And gets the power of Grayskull. And then he goes to try and kill He-Man, because that's basically Skeletor's whole stick. It's like, I must kill He-Man. And Adam's kind of laughing. It's like, you know, the sword was more the conduit to give me let me control the power, but the spark that creates the lightning, I guess, that holds the power, just comes from within him. And in a huge plot device, he calls on the power of Grayskull without the sword and turns into Hulkman. And Hulkman and Skeletor duke it out, and that was actually kind of really cool. It's actually a really fun idea on the whole He-Man thing. Then, you know, they escape, obviously. Teela uses her powers that she turns out she has, and they escape. And then Skeletor goes back, and he's trying to figure out, how did Adam call forth the power without the sword? Because everybody thought the sword was necessary. Turns out it's not. And then, essentially though, behind the scenes though, Evil Lyn, who was kind of turning good, and was kind of joining the good guy side, at least for the time being, she immediately goes back with Skeletor whenever he shows back up. But he gives her the power of the sorceress, right? And the sorceress essentially can grant the power to anyone. And so she could technically take it away from Skeletor, but she's basically been beaten down over the years. And so she's kind of submissive to him. And in a huge plot twist, or I guess not really a plot twist if you saw it coming, because it was fairly obvious what was going to happen, she bait and switches Skeletor, which by that I mean she uses her feminine wilds to basically trick him into sending the power back. And then she takes the sword and she calls down the power. So now you have super powerful Evil Lyn fighting against Adam and Skeletor. And then eventually, you know, Adam gets the sword back and he changes himself and Battle Cat and Skeletor into back into their super forms. And then they fight essentially the army of darkness that Evil Lyn calls forth from the underworld. And all the while, Teela is going to become the next sorceress, and they change the lore. So the lore is the sorceress is tied to Castle Grayskull. Okay, that's fine. In order for her to become the sorceress, she will then be tied to Castle Grayskull. And that's how it's always been. Until Tila. Tila, because in her super awesomeness, is just like, I don't want to be tied to Castle Grayskull. So I'm just going to use the power without becoming technically the sorceress of the castle. And by doing that, she essentially has all the power of the sorceress, but she's not tied to the castle. So she wipes the floor with Evelyn, kind of does like, the thing and talks her out of it. Evelyn gives up the power, and it all starts over, and the show ends admittingly nicely to where Tila, who has always had kind of a crush on He-Man, who is technically Adam, her and him they don't really change that. They're like, okay, like she had a flame for He-Man, she wanted to be with He-Man, she loves He-Man, and they actually do let that continue on. And I'm kind of happy they do, because there is sort of like a little side quest, or side thing going on with the Tila's friend, and I'm glad they do, because there is kind of like some implications that Tila and her friend, whose name I can't remember at the moment, kind of have a thing going on. And if they did, but I'm glad they left it with like she and Adam actually, like, if nothing else, being hinted as they do have some form of a future, in my opinion. And but like that's pretty much it. That's how it ends. She lets Adam keep the power, but now Adam may or may not end up in heaven, because he already went to heaven. So when he went to heaven, that was kind of like his reward for being the champion. And now he may not get that same thing again. Like, he already got the reward, so now if he dies again, it's kind of 50-50 on whether or not he'll end up in heaven or hell. But in the end, though, she's now the sorceress, Adam is still He-Man, Skeletor, and then this whole thing, okay, there's this weird side plot where, since the magic is going away, everyone's kind of turning to technology, and there's this weird technology cult, which is like infecting people with these nanobots and turning them into weird cyborg hybrids, and it's kind of hit or miss as to what you're gonna get. The one transformation we see, the guy's eyeball literally pops out, and then you got people like Trapjaw, who it just kind of like enhances, because he was already kind of superhuman, and then you got obviously, it's just kind of hit or miss to what you get. And in the end, though, they're after the Skeletor goes back to his palace, and the eye guy, can't remember his name either, crap, infects Skeletor with what they call motherboard, and that's kind of how it ends to set up the next season. I don't know if they're going to get another season. I think there is a chance they could. I've heard rumors, so that's kind of why I'm doing this now. And, yeah, so, all in all, I liked the story. I'm a little upset that it felt like more of, again, a bait and switch, wherein, like, I wanted to watch a He-Man show, but I got a Tila show. And to their credit, though, they just call it Masters of the Universe, because He-Man is not in it. So, in my opinion, it was kind of a cheat, making you think you're getting a He-Man story, because they wanted to tell a Tila story, but they marketed it as a He-Man story, which is kind of like a going trend in Hollywood these days, I would say. Honestly, though, plot-wise, I will give it about an 8 out of 10. An 8 out of 10 sounds good. It wasn't bad, it was firmly rooted in the lore. Following the story, it is what it is. I don't like that they break the lore, but, like, the fight scenes were cool. I wish we could have got more He-Man, but the plot was there. They accomplished everything they need to in the plot. There really wasn't much of any MacGuffins. Death isn't exactly permanent, but kind of is what it is, because they do kill off a couple people, like, relatively quickly. People die in this, but they're brought back, and then 1 or 2 of them are brought back, so it's kind of like, whatever. But yeah, so I give it an 8 out of 10. If you guys want, let me know what you guys thought in the comments down below, and do you guys agree with my assessment or not? And, yeah, I mean, not too horrible, I would say. But I'll see you guys in the... But please remember though, guys, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, turn on some notifications so you never miss another video from me. And I will see you guys in the next video.